Hey there, Cheesemeisters, and welcome back to the Peach Pod. That would have been do 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 living in the USA by Steve Miller Band. That was playing in the Peach Pit right before Andrea and Jordan went to see Hoffa. You notice
Oh,
Andrea is like the only person in this show who ever goes to the movies, and it's like when she has a date. Like she saw Batman Returns and this.
I mean, that's kind of how teens go see movies. You either go on a date or you go with friends.
It's true, but no one else in this thing. I mean, Dylan and Brenda went to the symphony. Like snooty motherfuckers.
I know.
I don't know. That's all I'm saying. I am Jeff, and you're nuts, man.
Oh,
And
God.
joining me on the other end of the internet is my host.
I'm Leslie, and I hope I don't meet either of you in a dark alley.
Oh, Jim is worried for his safety with these two bitches in his house, learning to kick ass.
Fuck Jim.
Yeah, I mean, that's what. I mean, there's a number of people who wanted to fuck Jim in this episode. First, Dylan, like fuck Jim. Then, right? Then Cindy, when he gives her a back rub, she's like, "Oh, I want to fuck Jim." Like, there's a big episode for Jimbo. In the little bit he had to do, which was just give away people's money to them. This week, Cheesemeisters, we are discussing season 3, episode 21, 21, 20 22, 21.
20
20 Dead End. Original air date February 10th, 1993. Is it safe to say that this is your favorite episode of 90210 thus far?
It might be. And I really loved everybody's talking about it. Like, I'm so torn because that's so great, but like the cheers that emanated from my vocal folds this episode.
Yeah. But now, I guess here's the thing for me. I'm wondering if you loved the whole episode or if you only enjoyed what happened after Jack picked up an umbrella. Like,
Oh,
was it
yeah,
just the...
that's probably it. Like,
Yeah.
when they showed that car in the parking lot, I was like, I was holding on to Walter, shaking him. It's like, this is what started it all. We're here. And then
That's
I got
right.
freaked out when they did the fake out. Oh.
Yep. So, for the Cheesemeisters who haven't been here since day one, this is our origin story. This episode is what started it all for the Peach Pod. Quick recap. In 23, I went to LA on a family vacation and went around to a bunch of 90210 sites and took a bunch of pictures of just, here's me at West Bev. Here's me at Casa Walsh. We went to the Apple Pan and ate there. We went to where this will be located later, which you don't know anything about. We went to the former location of the beach club, which is now just the beach. And we, because it's not so far away, we went to the marina where Jack's car blows up. And I took a picture, and I was posting all this shit to Facebook because, like, people know, like, the people who know me know that I've been into this silly ass program for a long time. And so I was posting pictures of our journey. And I posted the picture of this empty parking lot, which is fascinating just to look at, and posted something like, this is where Jack McKay may or may not have blown up in a car explosion. And you commented, this show sounds wild. And I'm like, and in the space of about 4 seconds, I went from, you should watch this show, I'll watch this show with you, we should do a podcast wherein we watch this show. And it was the greatest idea I ever had, and here we are. So we finally made it, and we've been trying to keep you spoiler free this entire time. but you know, you knew this was coming at some point. And
Yes.
I think I said to you earlier, like, 'cause you were worried, oh no, is it going to be telegraphed or whatever? I said, I think you'll probably see it coming when we get into the storyline. But when we got into this storyline, when Jack got released from jail, I believe your initial thought was, this can't happen yet. Like, it seems too soon. So at what point did you know Jack was about to get blowed up? Was it when you saw the title of the episode, Dead End, or something else?
Dead End was definitely a strong piece of evidence in my detective skills for this. I feel like, too, all of the hinting at him dealing with suspicious characters. And then also, I feel like it's a more recent thing, maybe within the last 10 years, of TV writers going, we have this villain, we need to keep him or her. We need to keep them for a while because that's what keeps the drama going. Yes, people hate them, but if you build, again, it's someone to build drama around. That's why producers keep the villains they choose for reality shows on longer. Like,
I see what you're saying.
you know, but in the good old 90s, they cut them out quick, and I love it.
Well, I mean, like, keeping your villains around forever is like soap operas did that, you know. Erica Kane was a villain and she was around forever. You know, Adam Carson and Lucinda Walsh on As the World Turns were like perpetual bad guys. James Stenbeck would show up, do some damage, get murdered, and come back again. So, you know, villain, you do what you want to, keep your villain around.
Yeah.
If your show's about having a villain. This one is, this show, I think we've seen is, it's not about having a villain. It's about the damage that parents do to their children. You know what I mean? Like, anytime the parents get involved, it's like, how did this impact these kids? You know, and we saw some of that this episode too, where, you know, Mel cheats on Jackie. Jackie gives up her alimony. She got married to Mel, gave up her alimony, then gets divorced from Mel. He's taking care of Aaron with his contributions, but it's not enough for her to keep the house, and now everybody has to move. You know, Jack is a criminal. Jack goes to prison. Dylan has to deal with it. Jack gets out of prison. Wants Dylan's money. Dylan gives it to him. It just, you know, whatever. Anytime Samantha gets involved in something, we see how it impacts, like Chucky. You know, we see how it impacts Steve. So, you know, I think what they wanted to get to here was, what happens to this kid when he spends his whole year in this love triangle between his girlfriend and her best friend, and gets accused of cheating on a test, not on the women, which, you know, cheated on the women, didn't cheat on the test. His dad gets out of prison. He starts to form this relationship, and we blow his dad up in a parking lot in front of his face. That's what this show is. This show is, let's fuck with this kid a little bit more and see what happens. So yeah, we blowed him up. And you loved it.
I did. I'm sorry, Dylan. Like, I know I give him a lot of grief, just like his life does. Zing!
Woo!
And like, as much as I loathe Jack, like, I still am going to feel very bad for Dylan. This is a horrible thing. Like, it will be very interesting to see what he does, how he regresses or bounces back, as it were. Oh my god. Just the... But But again, it's so hard to take it seriously with the
I know.
oh my god.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Um, it was a lot. So,
It was a lot.
so here's real quick before we. I mean, we're gonna spend. I feel like the whole time wanting to talk about Jack blowing up into little pieces. But here's what happens in this episode. We already talked about it a little bit. Jackie has to sell the house, so she has like a realtor caravan come through, and everyone describes. It's Jackie's house is it's a crazy fun house. Like there's parquet flooring in the dining room, there's a fucking fish tank in the wall, there's glass brick in the bathroom. I'm pretty sure that like if we went back and watched the Jackie's first appearances when she's stoned out of her mind and passed out in her bed, I'm pretty sure there's a microwave in her bedroom and it's all white. Like this house is bonkers. And she wants to sell it, and so but the people coming through are like, this place is fucked up. I don't think it's worth what she's asking for it.
Oh my god.
But yeah, it's the whole thing. Kelly doesn't want to leave the house. And they turn down the offer because it's a low ball. So that's going on. Brandon hits a bad streak. He loses a few games. He's down about 500 to Duke, who shows up and lets him slide. But he only lets people slide one time. So, I mean, from this point forward, I'm sure Brandon's going to win all of his bets and everything's going to be fine because, he learned his lesson by the one time that he got off the hook. Jim is wrestling with whether to sign off on dissolving the trust and giving Dylan all of his money. Eventually, he decides to do just that, gives Dylan all of his money, and Jack has moved them onto a boat. Because he wanted to be an easier target, I guess, one assumes.
I don't know.
Good boat. I mean, I think it would have been a lot harder to blow Jack up in the hotel, but here we are. So he's living on this boat. Won't say where he got it. The captain of the boat is involved in some sort of something where if you tell Dylan about our deal, I don't think either one of you is going to make it out of here alive. So there's that guy doing whatever he's doing. And then there's people watching the boat, staring at Kelly. Hashtag no notes. Go ahead, stare at Kelly.
Wow.
Well, she's hot. What are you gonna do? She eats like a bird. And then there's people doing active surveillance on the boat, like listening in. And then Jack blows up into pieces when his car explodes. Could have been Dylan. Wasn't going to be Dylan.
Thank God.
So let me ask you this. What the hell do you think's going on here? Because I know what's going on here, and I'm still not sure it makes any fucking sense. What do you think's going on here?
I'm so confused because last week I thought maybe he's working. I don't even think it was last week. I think it was the first time I watched this episode. I thought maybe he's working with the cops because he made a comment about sometimes you got to roll with the pigs. And I thought, whoa, okay, Jack.
Okay.
Be careful. They're listening.
Yeah, exactly.
And this, I don't know, the listening in, the setup, it seemed like something cops would do. And then the second time around I watched it and was like, whatever you feel about cops, I'm pretty sure a 90s TV show or just a TV show in general is not going to show them in this light of just killing someone who's giving them resources and names. It didn't, so that doesn't make sense. But then I looked up what Hoffa was because I had no idea. Like I've heard of I've heard the name Jimmy Hoffa like anyone else.
Okay.
I don't know anything other than that. Like, it's a joke in Bruce Almighty. I don't know anything else.
Got it.
So I looked up what the movie was about, and I sent you the picture, but I'm going to read the description for
Yep.
listeners because it says the story of the notorious American labor union figure Jimmy Hoffa, who organizes a bitter strike, makes deals with members of the organized crime syndicate, and mysteriously disappears in 1975. Now,
Yes.
I don't think Jack is any kind of labor union advocate. I don't get that vibe from
Doesn't seem to
him.
be. Doesn't seem to be.
But I think he might be involved in a mysterious crime syndicate.
Okay.
And that's what's happening.
So who's he getting the money for? Because like because he's always on the phone with people saying, I'm working on it. I'm going to get the money. Like, what do you think he's up to getting the money?
It must be to pay people back who got him out. He says he took the fall for a lot of guys.
Right.
So,
Which indicates that they owe him, not that he owes them.
listen, I'm not an evil person, so I don't know how evil people think. I can't even say it with a straight face. I'm on my villain origin story as we speak. But again, I have no idea. It doesn't make sense. The only thing they have established is that Jack needs this money for these people, and they're not good people. That's all they wanted to make clear.
Yeah. I know where this is going. And I still let's talk next week and see if you think this makes any more sense, because I don't feel like it ever makes any fucking sense.
I have a feeling it's not going to.
Yeah. I mean, like, because the point isn't look at all of this plotting and scheming. It's about like what happens to Dylan after his dad blows up in front of him. But I don't think it makes a lot of sense. It feels like they just like I don't know, like maybe if it's the cops listening in, like you show that it's like, FBI van or something, like, some kind of something to tell you that that's what this is. Or if it's like if there are bad guys who are, like listening in or watching Jack or whatever, indicate that in some way, because we just know that the captain of the boat is involved, and we don't know whether he's like a police officer who is like undercover, like helping Jack, or if he's like holding him and his family hostage until the money shows up, or like we have no fucking clue what's going on with this guy. We don't know who's listening. We don't know any of it.
And it doesn't feel like they're gonna get that by killing him. So I don't know if they intended to kill Dylan, except it's not Dylan's car. Yeah,
right.
The math ain't mathin', as the youth say.
Yeah, fucking youth. Oh, I forgot to ask you. Did you throw up in your mouth or throw anything this episode? Probably threw something in celebration. I threw my hands up in the
air and said, "Yeah, I threw my hands up in the air for celebration. I cheered. I don't think any of my roommates were here, thankfully. Otherwise, they would have been like, "What's happening?"
Yeah. You were like, Jack McKay blew up, everybody. Fucking listen up.
I think I did almost throw up in my mouth a little when I thought Dylan was going to move the car, because I was like, wait, no, there's no way.
Right.
I know I've seen older Luke Perry on this show.
Right.
I've seen him, his hairline receding. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Dylan. After this episode, Dylan comes back as a ghost and haunts the marina to this very day.
Like you do.
That'd be something. Yeah, All right,
No,
what
I
is
was
this
very excited.
episode really about?
It's about a few things.
Okay.
I think a big one it's about is warning signs.
Oh, okay.
We've talked on this show before about how we choose not to see people's red flags until they just become too
Mhm.
bright or hitting us in the face. And I think this is
Yep.
another one where we see warning signs, but we have trouble distinguishing, well, how severe is the warning sign? Like, is it just a thunderstorm watch? Okay. Like, is it a tornado watch? I don't
Right.
need to go into my basement yet. I don't need to grab the radio. Um, and, they keep talking from the very beginning of this episode about, like, in this weather, which I thought the
Right.
weather wasn't doing enough.
Yeah.
um, I thought they were going to go out to sea and have a Dawson's Creek episode where Brenda and Brandon had to come out on another boat and save him. It's not what happened.
No, that'd be
Um,
awesome.
but yeah, we have storm predictions. Someone was attacked in their neighborhood. So Cindy and
Hmm.
Brenda, you know, I mean, they see the warning signs. And I would say, in typical woman fashion, we're like, oh, I don't need more than that. Self defense, here we go. Here's the
Hmm.
opportunity. I'm going to protect myself.
Yeah.
So
Oh, we forgot
that's
to mention that somebody was attacked in their neighborhood, so Cindy and Brenda go to a self-defense class with Donna. That happens too, and Jim does
makes
some
fun
Mr.
of them.
Miyagi shit. Yep.
Asshole. Which is kind of another thing I think this episode is about, because the teacher talks about how the three A's: avoidance, awareness, and assertiveness.
Hmm.
I'm not going to go into all those because, like, while I don't like, I think this episode is a little bit about when the teacher says avoid situations where problems might occur. That's a lovely thought.
Right.
Things could happen anywhere, and they
Hmm.
do. You know, like
Yeah.
Brenda was at the Peach Pit. Why should she have to avoid the Peach Pit? You know,
Right.
Dylan knows his dad has a history. Why should he's a kid, he's a son, why should he avoid his dad?
Right.
Like,
Just a marina, for God's sake.
yeah, like, I'm trying to think who else. Oh, Brandon, like, sees the warning signs. He low-key gets threatened by his bookie. Like,
Hmm.
you get one chance to fuck up. And
Hmm.
Brandon, do you not know how gambling works? Like, it's like anything else in life. You're gonna have highs and you're gonna have lows. It's a fun old
Yeah.
roller coaster.
Hmm.
So I think this episode is about assessing how great the danger is from the warning sign, and how it's also
Yeah.
impossible to avoid situations where dangerous shit's gonna happen.
Hmm.
Like, yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. There's people have put themselves in some situations here that shouldn't. I don't know. That shouldn't necessarily be this dangerous and then turn out to be dangerous. Like you just can move the car. I move my car all the time. It's never once blown up. Not once. Um, you know, eh, I've eaten at diners plenty. Never once been robbed by a teenager hopped up on drugs. I think that there's a sort of along those lines, I guess, a little bit. One of the things I think this episode is about is know who you're in bed with.
Oh,
Because Brandon is involved with Duke, who he just sees as like Nat's friend, takes some book, bets the ponies, seems real friendly, was nice to Andrea with her hat and shit at the racetrack. Um, but Duke only gives you one pass. So maybe fucking he might be like not a great guy, like
no.
because he's a bookie doing illegal things for a living. So no, you're in bed with Brandon. David and Serge, like David is has gotten in bed with Icon Records, and they're a pretty cutthroat outfit according to David, and he is just excited. But they've
Yeah.
already said, hey, if you want to do this deal, you have to murder Steve Sanders, or at least his hopes and dreams. And David's like, done. Fuck that guy. I wanted to fire him anyway. Did I tell you what happened with the Battle of the Bands? I had to go on first, didn't even get to sound check, and then fucking Diesel Stone and the Waste Management ragged on me. That's Steve's fault, all of it. Fuck him. And David's in bed with Steve at least a little bit, to the point where like he's constantly having to apologize, like trying to make things right. Dylan and Jack and the boat captain and the good guys and the bad guys and the audio surveillance and the video surveillance, and I don't know if any of them fully grasps who they're involved with. I don't know who they're involved with. I don't know who they've gotten in bed with. And then Jackie perhaps gets in bed with the worst people on the planet, realtors.
Oh.
So, I mean, I don't know. It seemed like they were an unscrupulous lot, according to Jackie. She was side-eyeing all these folks.
Yeah.
So there's just people, getting into it, and maybe not fully 100% understanding the people with whom they are dealing.
I had a thought when you were talking about David, and this is going to be a very specific joke, and I'm sorry, but I think we'll at least be amused. David watches Merrily We Roll Along and thinks Frank is right the whole time.
I don't know which one Frank is, but it's not Harry Potter?
Exactly. It's Jonathan Groff. It's the main guy who's like, I would give up all of this to be with my friends again. And you go back and you see everyone watch Merrily We Roll Along, or I guess don't watch it, listen. It's great.
Yeah, I've listened to it a couple of times, but I don't know the story all the way. But yeah. David's not giving up. Yeah, David's not willing to give up anything to make his dreams come true, except for his friends.
Except friends.
Yeah, he's willing to cut throat, just cut ties, toss. He's like, Steve, can you go move my car? Yeah, here's the keys. I'll hold the umbrella, and I wonder if this umbrella is a shield, because I'm going to sort of do this.
Right.
Just protect myself.
This has some basis, but I also thought this episode was about how people act really ridiculous when they're happy, because Christine decides to okay, this was clearly on this actress's resume, and they went, we'll fit it in somehow. Like,
the spoon thing?
The spoon thing. Yeah, and the pop too took me out. I was like, you have to be kidding me. So, she's happy, decides to show off her neat little party trick. Jack is happy and decides to scream, take me out to the ball game at Dylan. And Dylan, of course, is happy too and decides to yell and create chaos on the boat and then finally sing along. I can't think of who else is happy in this and does stupid or silly stuff. Sorry, judging happy people. Sorry.
It related. I thought one of the things this episode was about was people screaming. Like,
oh my God, so much screaming.
Dylan is screaming at the guy who's staring at Kelly. You're gonna you can look at my woman. I'm gonna, whatever. And then he screams for help when Jack sings "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." Then he screams when Jack blows up. Yeah. And then Kelly and Brenda and Cindy are screaming, no, 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 over and over again. Not annoying in any way, shape, or form. Not monotonous and ridiculous. But there's a lot of yelling in this episode.
I don't know why they don't take the Carol Burnett method of getting rid of their attacker and just start doing the because that's exactly what that's what she did.
It's funny. I like it. I think they should do that. Just act like Tarzan. I think that'll
You
do it.
have to act
There's
crazier than the person attacking you.
Steve Martin had a bit about that where he was like, nobody wants to rob you if they think you're nuts. So the first thing that he does is throw up all over his money. Yeah, it works. Never mind, you keep it. It's fine. I'm gonna go over. I'm gonna go over here.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's a. I think it. I think it's useful, and I think that this episode is almost about consequences. Like we're on the verge
Almost.
of consequences. Like Jack gets consequenced. Brandon sees Duke's other side, uh, and and that's the end. All done. Brandon is good again. Jackie has
His
to sell
third
her
car is gonna
house.
get blown up.
Oh my god! All he does is damage cars. Um, so people are starting to almost have consequences, and weirdly, Steve is right about stuff.
Okay. This was disturbing to me because, the first time I watched it and I hear Steve make his racist comment, I was immediately like, no, I'm done. Except then Ian
Right.
Ziering kept making amazing facial expressions and acting the snot out in this episode. And I was like, damn it. Like, you're amusing to watch. I hate what
Yeah.
they're writing you to say, but this is the first time I was really enjoying. I'm gonna say Ian's work because I don't like Steve. I can't. I'm gonna separate the two like more than ever.
Sure.
Because he just Brandon's talking about kissing Andrea, and he does this like really comical look. And I was upset that he didn't go, "You kissed, we kissed."
Yeah, I was expecting Steve to, because I didn't remember. I was expecting Steve to like, hey, remember when we were Alfred be cooking and I was Andrea be kissing? It was
Yeah.
that was on my bed and it was nice. Yeah, I kind of forgot about like the most Steve was right part of the episode, because like we know he's right about basketball being a sucker's bet. Like we can see that shit coming a mile away. And it's clear that like he's right about the cutthroatness of the record industry because he's been throat cut. But when he is looking at Brandon and going, you did this when she dated Jay. Like you just have like you got this whole thing with her that's not healthy. And
No.
do you even know that you're doing this? And Brandon is like, oh, I guess I kind of do have this possessive trip over Andrea. And Steve's like, so I don't know. Like when Steve is paying attention to others and not just like, his own ass, maybe he's an observant person, but
Yeah.
he does have a lot of time to like sit and think when he's in detention. Now that the guy who ran Andrea over isn't in there taunting him anymore, making him sit on cupcakes and shit. So,
I didn't see Bill Myers
he's
in there.
oh, look at you, still we haven't seen Gil in a minute.
Yeah, I wonder why. He's hiding. He's keeping a low
You think he planted
profile.
You think? Do you
Oh
think
my
Gil planted the
god.
bomb?
I
What if this
didn't.
whole
But
season
now.
was just Gil trying to kill everybody? Like failed attempts by Gil to kill the kids at West Beverly. Like he tried to get Andrea run over, didn't work. Tried to get Dylan blowed up, didn't work. Got Brandon hooked up with a bookie to try to get him murdered for losing bets, to be determined. I don't know.
Not only is he a bad teacher, he's a bad murderer. He is the opposite of
Yeah,
Walter White. Someone make this.
bad assassin. Yeah. I've told you that I live with someone who's been trying to kill me for 20 years, and is she, like, the only thing saving me? She's staring at me right now while I say this. The only thing saving me is that she's legit bad at it. But it's like
Wow.
she's constantly like putting stuff in cabinets so that when I open them, those things fall out, and like stacking big pots on top of little pots so that and then turning the handles around so that they're underneath so when you try to lift one of them up, the handle catches the back part and everything goes all cattywampus. I mean, it is perilous living here. So but she's legit bad at it. So like maybe
Wow.
I married Gil Myers. Maybe I married Gil Myers. Just terrible assassin Gil Myers.
How dare you compare Laura to Gil? That's awful.
Yeah,
Laura's amazing.
you're right. She
Laura is
she
why
doesn't
we're
act with her
close.
hands. Yeah, she doesn't do this. All right. Anything else that this episode might really have been about?
I
It's weird this because like one big thing happens and a whole bunch of nothing else. Like it's just a little bit of incremental movement forward in all of
yeah.
these other storylines. Like, we get another mention of Kelly not eating. So like that's happening still. Brandon's, gambling continues, but is finally like taking a little bit of a turn. David is moving closer to his, dreams of a record career. But he hasn't started recording yet. He just got a phone call from Serge. Like that's not much.
Maybe
Jackie opened the
maybe
house.
yeah, maybe it's also about how it is a lifelong process learning who you can trust. Because you think when you're a kid, you think once you're an adult, maturity is achieved. I have the
Mm.
people in my life who I can trust. I have my job. You think you achieve this level of adult and that's it, and that
Sure.
anything that was annoying in childhood doesn't continue. But the thing is, no one else is on the same level as you. Everyone else is figuring shit out and confused.
Mm-hmm.
Things don't I mean, it's again, it's a roller coaster. Like you're up one minute and you're down the next. It's growth is not linear. So I think, we see the kids learning the hard way, like, oh, I can trust these adults. They're adults. Oh, one is telling me I get one chance to make a mistake, and
Right.
I have no idea what that means, but I'm a kid. He likes me, so surely he wouldn't hurt me. You
Mm-hmm.
know, Dylan thinking he can trust his dad to not continue to make mistakes because he's remorseful.
Mm-hmm.
And then of course Jack, now we see it with the adults, Jack thinking I don't know if he can trust these guys. I don't know if he thinks that, but maybe he somehow feels this is his only option, so he has to trust them to get him
Right.
out of the muck. Um,
He feels safe enough to move that car.
oh my god. Jackie, entrusting her house with realtors,
Mm-hmm.
obviously trusting Mel to not fuck up the bag because she said goodbye to alimony, which,
Right.
man, she must have had a bad lawyer because I would have been taking Mel for all he's worth.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you have that much of a problem, I don't need this house still, but I'm gonna need something nicer to forget you ever existed.
Yeah.
Well, we can't do that because Erin exists, so that's
Mm-hmm.
gonna fuck with her. Oh, everyone's
I mean,
screwed.
the thing with the house is, like, from a TV production standpoint, it makes a whole lot of sense that Jackie needs to sell this house
Yeah,
because these kids are going away to college. So Kelly and David aren't going to live there anymore. So like we're going to have to build a set for wherever Kelly's going to live and wherever David's going to live and all of this stuff. So we should probably tear this set down. So we have to have a storyline for why we're never going to come back to this house again. and
Wow.
why like if they go to school locally, why they do have to move out, why they do need to, because I don't know. Brandon never moves out of Castle Walsh. I mean, like
What?
as long as Brandon lives in Beverly Hills, he lives in his parents' house. Um, because
Okay.
they built all those sets. I mean, you're not gonna, you know. Um,
Sure.
but you can't have everybody always living at home when they go away to college. Like some people have to get kicked out of the nest, and uh, there's now we got a storyline reason uh why Kelly and David aren't living with Jackie when they go to college. So that makes sense. I get doing it. And also I think that's part of why um Sheila moved to Portland. Like you need to start cutting these ties a little bit so that the kids can be more independent when they go to college, but not completely independent, because it's not like suddenly we're going to say, um, hey, everybody's going to go to the University of Nebraska next year.
Oh
You know,
man.
they're not
I
moving
love that place.
everybody to the Cornhusker State. So, assuming that we're going to find some nonsensical reason for everyone to stay in Los Angeles, um, you got
Which
to
they
find
are.
reasons to get people out of their houses. And so Jackie's got to move. And, Kelly's right. It feels like everything's changing. And Jackie's like, well, guess what, Junior? It is. You're getting ready to graduate high school. Your boyfriend's dad's about to become pieces. Um,
Wink, wink.
we're moving out of this house. You got to figure out where you're going to college. Like maybe Brenda will start talking to you more. It's hard to say. I don't know. Um, Brandon's probably going to lose a thumb or something. Like it's all, everything's bad. Everything's changing. Lots of stuff going on. Um, and look, it's sweeps, but it's only February.
Oh my
So
god.
yeah, and this is episode 21. And this season, there are uh, 30 episodes. So we have got 9 more episodes. There are things that need to happen um, before now and the
So
end of.
much.
Yep. Especially, I mean, there's some treading water that happens um, between now and then. Like a couple of
Oh.
like, we're just going to take a breather, episodes.
Oh man.
Um, but there's also a lot of stuff going on. Um, you know, I don't know if Dylan's going to scream at anybody or into the air. Um, there's something there's something about the way they shoot Dylan screaming that makes his face look so angular. Like it's very pointy towards his chin when he's doing the screaming, and I don't remember Dylan screaming like that again at a cinematic fireball later in the show, but you just don't see his face look like that. It just doesn't. It doesn't almost doesn't look like him.
Well, and he's I mean, I guess I'm trying to fathom something here because I was thinking like his face is very well lit by the flames, and I'm like, oh, well, it is a
Mhm.
car exploding, so that makes sense.
It does. Yeah.
I'm not a DP. I'm not a designer. I'm lucky enough that I come on set. All I need to know is my shit and hit my mark.
Yeah.
Um, I can address other things outside of that, but
Right.
shooting angles and things like that, I'm not there, and quite frankly, I don't want to do that job. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, it did look weird. All of that to stumble through, it did look really weird. I thought the having him yell "ah" like that was weird. Like
Mm,
it very much reminded me coming off of a show where a lot of screaming was happening, and sometimes you have to like change your scream if your voice is dying. Like if you're having
sure.
vocal weakness and you haven't gotten the steroid, um, then yeah, it sounds like he was having to do the safest thing possible for his voice. And they
Hmm.
were like, well, no is too cliche because they're going to do that in The Revenge of the Sith, some movie that's going to come out and people are going to laugh at. I don't know how I
Right.
know that it's going to happen. So we can't do no.
Right.
But we could have you fall on your knees and say, ah, over and over again. And that's a little less cliche.
Right. I mean, he does. He shouts "Dad" or "Jack" too. It's not just "ah."
No, I know.
Um,
But like,
but
and
yeah, I'm
see,
with you.
again, it's just, it's picking the obvious thing because we think
Hmm.
everyone reacts the same way. And it's
Right.
like I have to tell medical students when I'm giving them feedback later and they're like, well, I thought you were going to cry. And I'm like, not everyone cries when they're given bad news. And I didn't feel like I was in a safe enough place to cry with you.
Hmm.
So like,
Yeah.
I feel like it would have been just as impactful if he had just been like stunned silent. I don't, and then gone into a yell. I don't know, but just I was laughing, and that's
Yeah.
wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Here's a question for you. Um, how much is a parking ticket? Like
A
they
lot.
ran out there. They ran out there like, shit, we got to move this car because the meter maid's coming. Like,
Listen, I've gotten enough parking tickets to keep the city running. I don't know why they're worried about congestion pricing. I'm exaggerating now, people. I'm not. Please don't think I'm stupid, but New York is tough and they're sneaky. But like, yeah, I would. This could be how I get taken out because
yeah.
it's
But
like, oh, Monday. It's it's street cleaning day. I've got to move the car.
no, I mean, I get it. I have to do that too, but my trust fund wasn't just dissolved. Like
That's true.
they can afford, this is 1993. Like that ticket was $20 maybe. Maybe.
Also, this is the one law-abiding thing that Jack does.
Yeah, got to move the car. Yep. I'm going to embezzle and I'm going to steal pension funds from old ladies. This yacht was clearly purchased by gangster money or like whatever, some bad eggs. Um, by the way, fucking Jack. First, he tells Dylan that that he got this place because he took the heat for a lot of guys.
Mm-hmm.
And then he starts telling Dylan that he knows some bad people. And then the boat captain interrupts him. And then he tells Dylan, I told you I only deal with the good guys. Like, what the fuck? This is why Jack makes no sense. Because
Yeah.
even like his lies don't even make sense. Like, get your shit together, Jack, now that you're dead. Figure it out. Because what you're doing, it's not working.
Yeah.
And you end up blowed up into tiny little whale pieces. Um, it's not good. It's not good. It's a bad day for Jack.
Now I'm
Um,
thinking of the whale that got blown up on that one beach.
that's what
Have
I
you
was
seen that?
just thinking about.
I
Yeah.
love that video. If you internet Cheesemeisters, poor
Yep.
whale got blown up. It's a great video. It
Yeah.
was
I mean, I think
it was already dead.
it was dead already, but boy, it's a mess. Don't don't shove dynamite inside the dead rotting carcass of a whale unless you want to be wearing whale bits. Um, edict.
You know that car insurance didn't come through.
Yeah. No shit. All right. What did this episode make you nostalgic for?
Let's see. When has anyone I've known been in a car blowing up?
Or had a
Um,
record deal, or had to sell their house,
you know,
or
I think the
bet on
one thing
basketball.
I think the thing that stands out to me the most is when they're trying to get Andrea to go to the self-defense thing because whenever they don't want to do something, they're like, Andrea, you'll do it.
Yeah, Mikey likes
Um,
it.
I like that her saying like, oh well, I have a date made me think of the rare Friday nights when I had a date in high school. Um, and the thing then was I hope
Yeah,
it's still this, although it's too expensive, but it was going to see a movie. It was, going
right.
out for coffee, or in my case, hot chocolate, because I didn't drink coffee yet. But yeah, good old joy of telling people I have a date.
Yeah, that is nice.
Yeah.
I texted you this earlier, but Andrea's possibly her most resilient character trait is being in favor of classes she's never taken.
It's wonderful.
Like, yeah, she's like, oh, they have 18 kinds of yoga. I've never heard of that. I've always wanted to try that. I'm going to try it.
Yeah.
Or I've heard self-defense classes are great. I'm going to try one. Not this week. I got Jordan. We're going to Hoffa, and
I would love for that to continue.
Yeah.
I have hope.
You have hope. I mean, it's nice that Andrea gets to date people. Even though they only go to the movies and you only see them together like at the Peach Pit, basically. But I think what this makes me nostalgic for is based on the scene in this episode that I find the most annoying. And it is the take me out to the ballpark thing.
Oh my God.
I hate that scene so much. It is so forced. It is ridiculous. Like, I know.
She's mad about it too.
Ember agrees. Look, we saw 3 Men and a Baby. It doesn't matter. She's not even listening to the words I'm saying. She's responding to the tone of my voice. So you can sing anything, right, at bedtime. But if you're going to sing a song at bedtime, you can't be like, 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out, now go to sleep. Like, you just fucking wound this kid up.
This is why Iris left you.
Yeah, because you're insane. Like, your parenting is like, I read Green Eggs and Ham, literally the book everyone's read. And I'm singing this song that no one sings at bedtime because it's too much of an upbeat number. It's
why he had to die.
Yeah. But the thing it makes me nostalgic for is singing my kid to sleep.
Aww.
Yeah, it was like, we don't have to do that anymore. He's a teenager. He just goes to sleep whenever he feels like it. But we would always read, and then we would sing a little song. And the thing I decided to sing to him, because I was looking to I wanted to limit this. Like, you don't want to sing American Pie to your kids. Too many verses. It's like 8 minutes long. It's like, oh boy, this is going to take a while. So I just sang him the alphabet. Like, aww. That's what I did. I just sang the alphabet. And then I ended it with, now I know my ABCs. Now Liam can go to sleep.
Oh.
And so I'm nostalgic for getting to sing a little boy to sleep. Because it's a sweet thing to get to do. So I remember that fondly. Okay, who is your Steve Sanders Memorial worst person of the episode?
It's Jim.
Yeah?
Yeah. I think he makes a dumb choice by dissolving the trust, because again, no one wants to be the villain in this story. No one wants Dylan to hate him. Yeah, it's Jim, and it's mostly because he pokes fun at the women learning self-defense. Like, just fuck you. And your impression is terrible, and I haven't even seen The Karate Kid, but I'm gonna trust that it's bad. And again, you're just making fun of women for protecting themselves, which everyone does, because, oh, newsflash, it's really uncomfortable when we learn that women are afraid.
Yeah,
I'm so glad I don't have to deal with that. Fuck you, Jim.
Eat it, Jim. Okay. I'm going to say that look, you can blame Jim all you want. You can say bad things about Jim. I'm going to say that the worst person of the episode is the evil midnight bomber, what bombs at midnight. Like,
no, I love him.
Well, okay, but he legit murdered somebody. Like, I know he's your hero, but look, there's a lot of things that we're like, let your freak flag fly, everybody. Do what you want.
Yeah.
I'm going to draw the line at planting car bombs. Like, I'm going to say objectively, that's a no-no.
Fine.
But I
listen,
understand how much it made you happy.
I mean, I went on Instagram stories and said watching a TV character eat it was the win I needed today.
Yeah,
And if
it's
I
good.
can't enjoy that, at least, people, then you're just I don't know what to tell you.
Mm-hmm. Look, you
What
can
you
enjoy art about bad people. You can enjoy when someone gets their comeuppance. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just going to say that, like, that's a bad guy. He's just
Hey,
planting car bombs.
there's a reason we have not one, but two musicals now. Granted, they're in the same world that start with awesome news, she's dead.
Which musicals are the awesome news she's dead ones?
The Wizard of Oz and Wicked.
Fuck yeah.
Duh.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Listen, if Munchkins are allowed, the characters are allowed to cheer for someone being dead, so am I. Which leads to my next question. What is your favorite TV character death?
Ooh. Oh man. Okay. That's a really hard
Because
question to
we've
answer.
talked about like sad TV deaths, onnes that left us bereft, but
Uh-huh.
what about ones we cheered for?
I mean, the problem is I try to follow the Judeo-Christian ethic of thou shalt not kill, but that's just me.
Wow.
Um, yeah, I mean, you can.
Okay, you don't have to kill, but you can enjoy someone else's death. I'm here to relieve that weight off your shoulders.
No, I appreciate it. God, is it wrong if I say Scott?
Scott! Oh my god, that's terrible! How dare you!
Eat it, Scott Scanlon. Boom! It's your
Damn.
own birthday party. Who else did I like to see snuff it?
Okay, I'm not looking up this person's name.
You know what?
Fucking
Here's
is stupid.
here's the answer. My favorite on-screen death are the male models who died in a freak gasoline fight accident. That's my favorite
wonderful.
on-screen death. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad that I can't think of all of them right now. I don't want to give this award to anyone from Game of Thrones because those all took too long, quite frankly. Um, although I guess they killed Ramsay Bolton quickly enough, but I still don't want to give Game of Thrones this award. This wasn't even because I wanted this character dead. This was just such a great way that he went. Gus Fring on Breaking Bad, his death was fantastic. The bell going off over and over again, and then the realization again before he explodes. So fantastic.
That was a good one. That is a good on-screen death.
Yeah. And I'm sure as I was watching, I was like, oh, this character has to go. We need him gone.
Right.
But now I'm like, no, Walter White's the worst one. But yeah, Gus Fring's death is pretty great.
It is pretty great. To do the jitterbug.
Oh God.
To do the jitterbug. Orange mocha frappuccinos.
Wow. That sounds so gross.
Brett, he's a male model. I'm sure he knows what hair gel is. God bless Zoolander. All right. I think that we did it.
Oh my God, we did. I'm so sad it's over.
I know. But you know what? There's more glory to come. And speaking of glory, join us on Friday, Cheesemeisters, when Leslie gets to experience joy. Just
finally
joy, start to finish. Yeah, this is the one thing that's been missing in your life is that you have not seen The Karate Kid. And God bless Jim Walsh for doing his terrible Miyagi and giving us an excuse to watch The Karate Kid, which we're gonna do. I love it. I I can't wait.
Which Walter has never seen as well. So we are both
Really?
going to
Okay.
be. I know it's going to be an exciting day for us.
It is. And I have a maybe my proudest moment story to tell when we do that episode. So
Oh dear.
very excited about this. I think your reaction is correct.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I honestly I fucking nailed it with this one. This is a good one. Yep. So join us here then, Cheesemeisters, and then join us here next week when we talk about season 3, episode 22. God, I cannot say any numbers that have 20 involved. 21, 22, 22, 22, 22. Season 3, episode 22. The child is father to the man, which is some kind of fucking title. But until then, Cheesemeisters.
Bye.
Just